Very strange. Okay, so going into the next point, if you get your pens and paper out, this is really important for finding or keeping some peace in your life. And also, I mean, the main reason why we don't feel peaceful is that we're trying to have control over things. So knowing that what you are thinking and feeling in this current moment is creating your future. A lot of us worry about the future. A lot of us worry, about things that are going to happen in the future. What then happens is the things or the worst case scenarios that we keep thinking about actually happen. So what we need to realize is that what we are thinking and feeling in this current moment is creating the next current moment. So as soon as you realize that, you then have to come into the current moment and then start to think and feel as from a place of what you want to create. So I'm not into the whole fake it till you make it, but I am very supportive of the process of bringing part of what that is. So say, for example, I don't know, abundance. We'll just use abundance as an example. And we'll just say, okay, so I'm not feeling abundant right now. And what you can do is you can go, okay, so how can I feel abundant right now? The first place I always go to is I have abundance of air. I can breathe. I am abundant with friends. I have abundance, and look at all the areas that you do have that. So often on this journey called life, we actually look at the things that are happening to us and think it's about those things. So if we think about, I'm struggling with money, or I'm struggling with relationships, or I'm struggling with all these different things, what you can actually do is look at that thing. It's just a vehicle to the experience of what's actually happening. It's not about those things. It's actually telling you more about yourself. So you can use those things to show you more about what's going on within you. It's not about those things. And this is why when we focus on when we're changing something in the world and we make it about that thing, I'm not going to say anything in particular, but if you look at all the movements that are going on or the studies that are going on, it's all about that thing that they're trying to change. Again, I'm not going to say what that thing is. The thing is, it's never about that thing. Until we deal with what's underlying of that thing, the thing will continue on. Same in your life as well. If you keep focusing on the thing that is not going well in your life and you want to change it, it will never change because it's not about that thing. The thing is the thing. It's part of, again, the messages and the signs to show you more about yourself. So using these things as a sign or a way to find out more about yourself will help you to then move through this journey called life and help you to start to create what you do want. If there is a current reality that you're not happy with, or if there's a future concept that you're not happy with, keep bringing it back to what is that thing showing me rather than making it about that thing, and you'll start to make the change. And always say, what is it telling me about myself again? What is it showing me about myself? It's always the best questions to ask. The next thing that you can write down on your list is that the present moment is the only one that exists. The past has already happened. The past is a memory that's in your head. Now, when you keep going back to the past, you're actually just going back to the memory in your head and pulling it and bringing it into your current moment. But it doesn't actually have to live here. It can just live in the past. And this is where, if you make a conscious decision to stay in the current moment and that the past is in the past, it's almost like what I call a spiritual bucket list that you can tick off. I've done that. And what happens is you don't bring that into your future or your current moment, because it just ends up being part of your past. Your past does not have to create your current moment or your future. It's just a memory. Now, in a lot of my reset work, I do go back and change the memories, which helps us to feel better about the current and the future, and we start to behave differently. But if we're really, 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 really tricky and we can do it, we can definitely stay in the current moment and choose that the past is just a memory. It's just a recording that we have in our head, and it doesn't have to live in this now. Same as the future. We worry about the future, but the future hasn't happened yet, so that doesn't exist either. I mean, time is an illusion, as Einstein has said, but in actual fact, it really is. The future has not happened yet, so it doesn't exist right now. So to worry about things in the future or think about things in the future from a place of I don't have control around it, just creates more of that in the future. Because whatever you think and feel in the current moment creates the future. If you want to create the future, if you want to create some level of peace and harmony in the future, you need to create it right now. And this is where the power is. I mean, yeah, Eckhart Tolle is the power of now. Power is only in the now, because you create the future and you can release the past, and that is where it lives. So if you can try and stay in the current moment as much as possible, that would be awesome. I do say too that when you release the needs to be in the past or the future and just stay in the current moment, these emotions, if you have an emotion pop up or a thought that pops up, you'll probably find it is also either future or past-based. Thoughts and feelings that pop up are usually connected to the past or the future. In the current moment, I'm just sitting here talking to you. I have no thoughts and I have no feelings around that. I'm just doing it. And in actual fact, you tend to feel quite good in the current moment, because that's where your power is. Your power is in the right now. When you step into your power, which is in the right now, you will feel good. And that's just a reality. This is just a reality. Start to think of the past as a memory. It's all it is a memory. It doesn't have to be a reality right now. And the future hasn't happened yet. And in fact, you create the future from the now. So the power is in the right now. So keep focusing on that and you'll start to feel a lot more peaceful, a lot more calmer about the future. And if there's something particularly worrying you about the future, you always say, how can I do something right now that's going to change the future or to help that? Because that's the only place that you can do anything about the future is in the now. So stay in the current moment. And to be honest, that's probably one of the biggest messages I can share, is that will help you a lot to bring some level of peace and harmony into your days. If you're not feeling peaceful or harmonious in the day, you can just say, where have I gone into the past or the future? And I'll guarantee you that you have. Okay, that's just one little piece of finding peace. The next one is knowing, and I talked a little bit about that. Oh, hi guys on Facebook. Nice to see you. So the other thing you can do too is that you can start to bring some elements of awareness from the human consciousness. So earlier on, because this has been going for a little while now, if for you guys that have joined late, we are actually all connected through our consciousness and our mind. So with that in mind, and if you can bear that in mind, what is actually happening is if we are all connected through our human consciousness, then we are actually, when we're connected through human consciousness, we are actually picking up each other's thoughts. I mean, we can talk telepathically, right? But we are picking up each other's thoughts. The issue is that we've been thinking that the thoughts that we're having are our own, but in most cases, we're actually just picking up each other's thoughts. Someone said something to me the other day saying, have you noticed that most of the thoughts that we all have are still the same from years ago? we don't really change those basic thoughts that we tend to have. So being aware that we have this human consciousness that is all connected and we're picking up each other's thoughts. That means that if you want to make a difference in the world, you can use this concept called entrainment, which is when you choose to think a different way and act a different way, you affect others because we are all connected. Knowing that, I don't know if you want to be accountable to the world, knowing that will help you to bring all these tips that I've shared into your awareness, because when you bring these tips into your everyday, you will definitely make a difference in your life. And just the knowing that when you're starting to make a difference in your own life, that you're affecting others, I don't know, that feels pretty good. I like that. So just knowing that we're affecting each other, and if that's any reason to find more peace in your life, and to create that, especially when you have children or family members or others that you love, if you want to, and people say, oh, how do I change others? It's always just you. You just need to change how you think and how you see things. And hopefully today you'll learn a little bit of a different perception on how to see things, to create a different reality, because what you think and what you see will create your reality. So if you can do that, and just even remember that how you think and feel is actually affecting others, then I think that's even more reason to start to bring more peace, joy, and just awareness into each day about what's actually going on. And if we really want to help the world, then this is how we start. I have been shown, I've drawn it somewhere, the multi-level marketing of peace, where you have someone, and I'll just put myself there, sharing information, and then I'll share information to you guys, and you guys can start to use it, and then you share that information with others, or just by being it. That's why I kind of share. There is an intention around how much I share on Facebook, is because I want to be the example of how we're meant to be, or how we can be, living our lives in peace and love and joy. If I can share that as much as possible and be the example of that, then through human consciousness, others will pick that up and start to bring that into their lives as well. So the more you guys do that, so I'm sharing with you, if you can be that, and through entrainment, people will pick it up. You can then be the example of this as well, and then others will then benefit. And then if they become the examples of that, then others from around them can benefit. And that's how we will change the world, pretty much. Sounds simple, right? I think it'll be fun. And that is actually the guiding purpose around this movement for finding peace, is finding the peace within ourselves will actually allow us to find peace in the world. So I don't know who's up for that. I'd like to see that in this. I'd actually like to see it in my generation, to be honest, while I'm alive. And if I can do anything to make that happen, then that's why I'm here. Okay, so the ego. The ego, again, it's all connected to the human consciousness, and also the ego has a really important part in our lives. It's here to keep us safe. It's here to protect our bodies. But it's also a pain in the ass. Sorry to say that. Whenever you do have, maybe a negative thought or anything that pops up, you'll find it is either human consciousness or ego that has popped up. And you can just look at it and go, oh, hi, how you going? Once you recognize again that that's not you, and as I explained earlier, the you that is really you is your soul. And your soul is just having an experience in a human body. That's all it's doing. So the other stuff that pops up is not who you are. And you can start to look at these things that are popping up just with interest. Look at it with interest rather than, oh my God, like those thoughts are saying that I'm horrible and I can't do it and no one likes me, and it's not you. If you can start to see those things as not you and look at them and just say, oh, okay, well, there's probably other people that are thinking that and I'm picking that up. Start to say those things to yourself and you'll find that they'll drop away. They just will. It's very, very interesting. And start to look at the ego, like where the ego's popped up. And the ego comes up in lots of different ways. It comes up as a thought, but it can also come through as behavior as well. And you'll find that the ego will come through with behavior. And when you're behaving in a way that you don't like. Jean-Marie said, ego is a distorted image of ourselves, a cartoon. It's really not it's not us. And I don't want to downplay it, because what you resist persists. So I don't want to say that we just want to ignore it. We just need to deal with it differently. And the way that I'd like to deal with it is just to even just say, that's my ego. Once you just realize that, and say, I'm just going back to, and I call it just part of the human consciousness. If we just go back to, I am, not human consciousness, but I am a soul consciousness or universal consciousness, you come back to who you really are. And we can combine being in soul or universal consciousness. We can combine that with being a human, and that's okay. It actually makes our lives a lot easier, and we can start to really enjoy our experience here, without all the other stuff going on. So just saying hi to the ego. Yep. So hi, how you going? Popped up again. It's not who you are. And I think the people who kind of go down the spiral, and, you know, all of us that go through the spirals of, you know, depression and sadness and all that sort of thing, is that we listen to it. It's not us. And I just want to share that with you. That's not us. Also, the beating yourself up around things, that's not who you are. You are just pure love and joy, and that's who you are as a soul. Your soul is pure love and joy. And I believe, like, whenever I meet people, especially people who other people would call bad, I only see pure love and joy. I see their souls, and God, I'm getting teary. I just want, I first off want you guys to see yourselves as these beautiful souls. You are just a soul, and you're having a human experience. If you can come back to what your soul is and who you really are as a soul, and the human experience can then just replicate that. And that's really how we're going to make a big difference here. And you guys can make a big difference in your own lives as well as everyone's. Again, going back to guidance and following the guidance. So we are all guided. We're all divinely guided. I talked about this earlier. But the main thing is that we do have to slow down and listen. I always know that if someone's really struggling a lot, they will then throw themselves into either work or something else to try. Oh my God. Definitely with slowing down and listening is the only way. Hey guys, it's the only way to receive the guidance that is here to take you on your next steps. And again, as I said before, receive the guidance, don't think it, and then just act on it. It's always going to show you your pathway. Do you think that you'll feel a little bit more peaceful and relaxed within if you know that you have this guidance that's there helping you? But you won't get it unless you really slow down and listen to what it is. Now, I say that, but at the end of the day, the guidance that we get isn't this loud, booming voice. It just comes through as our thoughts. It just does. But in most cases, we're fearful of our thoughts, or we don't want to deal with them because they're not telling us the things that we want to hear. They're not very nice. And they will stop you from getting the divine guidance. And so hopefully I can help you with acknowledging the difference between the two, the difference between human consciousness and soul or spiritual consciousness. And you can step more into the soul consciousness, which tells you the truth. The other is just part of the human consciousness, human experience that is just reflective of everyone. So let's start changing this. It's really cool. This is a big one, which may actually kind of is a big controversial issue, but I'm just going to say it because I'm only speaking my truth, is that knowing that death is an illusion, and in reality we transition, we don't die. Now, this is a topic on its own. But what I'm doing is I'm sharing literally 50 different ways of how I create peace in my own life, and this is one of them. If you can release the fears and the anxieties around death, oh my God, do you think you would live a little bit easier? Well, and you would live, right? Rather than being fearful of death, and also fearful of loved ones' death, or even really, really desperately sad about someone else's death. If we could just look at the journey, the soul journey, and the journey that it's having, and it's just a transition into another journey, the thing is, the reason why we are so upset here on earth around death is because we're the ones left behind continuing on this human journey. And that we physically, it's the physicality that we miss from people, because spiritually they're all around you. So the physicality of death is probably the thing that we most fear. But if we can realize that from a soul perspective, it's just a transition, and somehow reach within our souls to come up with that or connect to that truth, you'll be able to live a life a lot freer, a lot happier, and be able to deal with such a tricky concept without living in the fears for yourself or for others. And again, choosing, like, if someone, like even yourself, has death come knocking on your door, looking at it and going, okay, what can I do with this, rather than, oh my God, I'm going to die. Really, there's so much we can do from a soul perspective, and playing around with how you believe, your concepts and belief around death is actually really powerful. If you can do that, I highly recommend it, because being fearful of death is not only, again, what you resist persists. I have been shown that as a species we can live till 2,000 years old, and it's so funny, the other day I saw that the scientists are now saying that we can live up to 200 years. I'm like, okay, we're getting closer. Changing our consciousness will actually change our physicality, and it is actually changing our physicality, and it will allow us to live longer and to be together longer. Our fears are just not going to allow us to do that. So if we can see it as a transition, and start to see it as part of this experience, everyone actually dies, and we're all so fearful of it. And to me, I mean, I'm just talking from my soul perspective, my human perspective probably will freak out. But, if you can just know that we're always connected, that we're always together through spirit and through our soul connection, and just this little incarnation that we're having here, we've been given amnesia, so we can't remember this bigger picture. If we can try and remember it as much as possible, it's actually really, really powerful. And you can really, again, enjoy this process here and enjoy the process with others while they're here, without living in fear. Okay, so one other thing that I've learned is that striving and achieving is future-based. And so most of us are striving and achieving for something that's actually going to happen in the future, which doesn't actually happen. And it's so disappointing. And, I want you guys to achieve what you want to achieve, or to do what you want to do, with stress, without the stress, and with, peace and ease and flow. So releasing the concept of the striving and the achieving is future-based, and always, again, come back into the current moment. What do I need to do right now that will allow me to create whatever I want to create? The power is always in the now. I've just been given the thought, I'm just burping a yawning here. The knowing is the new black. That sounds so weird. The knowing is the new black. Okay. There's so much that I'm going through. The next one is knowing that I am source energy, just like everything else. So as a soul in this body, I am source energy. The air around me is source energy. This table has source energy in it. This water has source energy. We're all source energy. You are source energy. I am source energy. Once you connect to everything as being source energy, what happens is your energy actually starts to align and starts to rebalance, and remember that you are source energy. So what happens then when you remember that you're source energy and everyone else is source energy, is that you don't then keep trying to pick up other people's thoughts or other people's things or other people's energy, because you're the same energy. So especially if you're an empath and you tend to pick up a lot of stuff from people, you'll find when you remember that you are source energy like everything else, you just don't pick up stuff anymore. And again, same, you won't pick up the feelings or the thoughts from others, and that you can just stay within your own, soul consciousness. And being source energy, like, really helps to connect to nature, helps you to connect to everything around you. So one of the biggest sadnesses in the world, that people feel alone. If you connect to yourself as source energy and that you're always connected to everything, I can guarantee you'll never feel alone, because that is actually more of a truth than the truth of being alone. So again, it's the physicality, but if we're all connected, and you start to really embrace that, then you will start to connect in the physicality world, or the physical world. The next one is JP's actually just said that being empathic, he wish you could turn it off. Everyone knows that I say this, I should have this across my head. What you resist persists. So the things that we want to stop, the things that we want to turn off, whatever, will continue to exist if we don't want them. What we need to do, and this is where with connecting to yourself as source energy, is when you connect to yourself as source energy, you won't be empathic anymore, because you won't be drawing in. The reason why we're empathic is because that's how because energy has information in it. So we actually take in other people's energy as a source of information. If we then realize, number one, that we are connected to all the information in the world, and this is the next step that I was actually just about to talk about, is that knowing that you have all the answers that you need through connecting to the universe, or whoever you want to talk to, you won't be empathic anymore. I mean, I'm probably the most empathic person that I probably ever know, because I can talk to anything, go anywhere, do anything from a soul perspective. But touch wood, I mean, this is just my experience to date. Back in the days where they said when you do energy medicine or energy healing, you've got to protect your energy, things like that. That is actually where people started picking up a lot of stuff. As soon as you connect to yourself as just source energy, and that everyone's source energy, it's almost like a relaxing and a surrendering. It's like, okay, we're all connected, so I don't need to pick up your stuff. I hope that makes sense. If you can just see yourself as connected already to everything, you do not have to pick up everyone else's stuff, guys. And from that consciousness, you just won't. You won't pick up other people's stuff when you stay in that awareness that you are source energy. You just don't. Then, of course, connecting to, I have the answers I have all the answers I need, because as soon as I stop my thinking and start the receiving, you can get the answers from anywhere that you need to get them from. And again, that's what I'm teaching a lot of in the Finding Peace process, and what I'm sharing with you guys now. Okay, the next step is the concepts of mistakes and failures don't exist. That's just another human construct which is meant to just hold us back. In actual fact, there's no such thing as mistakes or failures, whereas we're a soul in a body having an experience. Like, a mistake or a failure is just part of all of it. It's the experience that's happening. So it's actually not a mistake or a failure, it's just an experience. It's just learning, it's just fun, or it's not fun, but that's still part of the experience. It's not a mistake or a failure. And I actually like to use the concept of mistakes and failures as an awareness that there's just something else to know. There's no such thing as a mistake or a failure. There's just something more to know, and that's all that is. Again, if we want to live in the now, how do we plan for the future? Well, we can plan for the future, but we need to live in the now. So I am a big planner. If you could see my desk right now, that looks beautiful. This is full of paperwork, because I'm constantly planning and writing notes and everything else. And I have to get it out of my head to be able to receive all the information that I receive. So if you do want to have an element of planning for the future, I recommend that you sit down and you write down those plans. But then once you've written them down, don't live in those plans. You live in the current moment. If I've got those plans, what do I need to do right now to make these things happen? And that's how you've got to work. If you constantly live in the planning for the future and you constantly live in those plans, you will always feel out of control, because you're trying to create the future from thinking about the future, whereas the future is created in the now. So staying in the now, but being as you can plan for the future as much as you like, because playing in the future actually allows you to then have a vision of what you want, to have an idea, and that puts it out there. But I want you to come back to the now and start to use that as to what you can do in the now, and get into action right now. When you get into action right now, there's no thinking about what you got to do. You just got to just do it. You will receive what you need to do in each moment, or whatever you feel like doing, because your feelings will always be the guide as to what you need to be doing. The awareness that how I treat myself is how others will treat me takes me completely out of victim and back into empowerment, pretty much, as I spoke about with the mirror earlier. Other people will always be a messenger and a guide for me. So if someone is, I don't know, said something to me or is treating me in a certain way, I instantly go into thank you, messenger, for showing me this. Now how can I, excuse me, I'm just going to burp. Excuse me. How can I, it's just funny stuff. How can I learn from what those people are showing me about myself, and knowing that how I treat myself is how they will treat me. So how am I treating myself the way that they're treating me? Such a great awareness to have, and instantly takes you that when people are treating you a certain way, just takes you straight into the awareness of, okay, so if they're treating me that way, then where am I treating myself that way? I need to stop. Stop treating myself that way. And guess what? Others then won't treat you that way anymore. It's just energy and how the world works. So then I'm talking about the web of consciousness, so how we're all connected and how we come into each other's lives. I had an amazing drawing of the web of consciousness, and how on each little join is where each person sits and each experience sits, and we're all connected. I love the whole concept of, 6 separations of Kevin Bacon or whatever you call it. It's actually like 7.8 billion connections. We're all connected somehow. And if you can then just see, like, especially what's happening in your web of consciousness now, who's in your arena, who's showing up in your world, what situations are showing up in your world. And if you could see it, you can even draw it. If you're very visual, you can draw a little web and put all those things on the web that are showing up for you. And you can really look at it and start to see, okay, so what is going on with me? Put yourself in the center of the web. What is going on within me that's actually bringing these things into my web? And it's from that place you can definitely start to change what's going on within you. And again, it's why I say with peace and harmony, if we want to see peace and harmony in the world, it starts with us, and it has to start with us. And hopefully the things that I'm teaching you today will help you to step more into that. So using the web of consciousness, really, really powerful stuff. Excuse me for the yawning and the burping. Okay. Okay. The next one is what I don't know will always show up. So if something shows up and it doesn't make sense, there's always still something that you need to know from your subconscious. I love it. I absolutely love it when I get to go and play with people in my sessions, and they go, I don't know why this is happening. Wow, it's so much fun to see how it all works and how it's all linked, and how what's happening in our current moment or their current moment is actually coming from within. The linking is amazing. And say, for example, something's happening that's really icky. I can always trace it back to what's going on within us. And it's amazing, because these things that are external to us, if we can just start looking at it as going, what is that showing me about myself? What is that? Why has that come into my awareness of something that I don't know? And there's an amazing process. And this is why I do have this program, and also the one-on-ones and things like that, where I'm going to show you guys and teach you how to do this. In the program, we actually do it day in, day out, and have a call every week. And with the one-on-one, we get to just work on it one-on-one. So I'm really excited about sharing all of this and doing this with you. And if things are showing up, I just from now for you guys just to start to use it, is that if it's showing up for me, what is it that I don't know? There's always something that's linking you to it. The next one is everything is perception, usually created before we were born. So again, with my in utero work and things like that, oh my God, it's amazing how we have perceptions of the world before we're born. And actually when we're born, it creates our reality. We can change it in so many ways. No, excuse me. And it's showing us what we need to know. I know that the burping is actually not me because I don't burp and yawn outside of working. It's very crazy. But when I'm working and doing this kind of stuff, I burp and yawn all the time. I'm just thinking now, oh my God, I'm burping so much. Maybe I should get checked out. And then the message came through, did you not realize that you don't burp and yawn outside of work? Okay, I'm just clearing all your energy, guys. That's just what I'm doing. Okay, so everything is perception, and this comes into what do we not know about ourselves. It's so scary what's in our heads. But then it's funny because when we find what it is, and we find it and we say it, they go, oh yeah, that's true. So it is something that we do know, but maybe we just we haven't noticed that it's there or noticed that it's a thing. It's very, very cool. So once we change our perception around things, and this is where I talked earlier around changing, like bringing gratitude and changing how we see things. If we're not grateful for something, look at how we can make ourselves grateful for it. So, say for example, there are, other things going on around the world that you wouldn't want. And then you go, okay, so I'm grateful that that's not happening and that this is. I don't know, it works. Okay. This is a big one. And also like with the program that I'm going to be doing with you guys, we go into the messages and signs and how they tell us and how to work them out. But our body is a massive message and sign to us, and it always tells us what we don't know about ourselves. So I am a massive fan and just love playing around with metaphysics and how the body does talk to us. So with whatever's happening in our body, there's a process that I use, which again I'll be teaching, for you to learn how your body is actually talking to you. So to give you a little bit of a quick insight, wherever it is on your body, and whatever that body part's job is, and also how you feel about what's happening and what it's actually doing, helps us to find out what your body's trying to tell you. Once you actually work it out, that physical issue should actually disappear, because it's like the alarm bell. So the body giving you these messages and signs is actually very similar to the alarm bell or your emotions giving you messages and signs. Once you've worked it out, they don't need to be there anymore. So your body is an amazing, amazing, amazing messenger for you. If we can shift our awareness, and please, I don't care how many people you share this information with, because this is my job. If we could share all of this with everyone, we're going to start to see a little bit more peace in our own lives and the world and in others that we love. So please start to share with people that we are not victims to our bodies. Our bodies are our messengers. Please, 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 if you can share that message. Don't even think about how to work it out yet, because I teach all of that. But our bodies are amazing, amazing, amazing. And I think that's where we have a lot of lack of peace in our lives, is because we think that things are happening to our bodies, or that we're the victims to what's happening to our bodies. Our bodies always tell us the truth. I just love the wisdom in our bodies. And again, in my program and everything else, I'll be sharing how you too can work all that out as well. Oh, I can't tell you how passionate I am about our bodies. Okay. The concepts that we've always lived by in society, and I've got another suicide letter that I need to write to other, like pop, but yeah, Jean-Marie, I love how you just like comment on all the things that I say and you love it too. But okay, so especially if we can try and get the message from these suicide letters that I've been receiving when I'm having communications with them, We've been brought up in a society which is when you have this thing that you want, and then you when you have the thing that you want and do the thing that you want, then you will be happy. That's how we've been brought up. So we've been trying to, bring things into our lives to have these things, so that we can do what we want to do to then be happy. But that's the wrong way. I don't like saying wrong, but it's okay. If we want to do it that way and that works, then use it. But I'm finding it's not working. Okay. It's usually what works, not what doesn't work, rather than right or wrong. Let's use that as a new analogy. So changing it to be, do, have, rather than have, do, be. The have, do, be is always going to be making you going external to you to have things so that you can do things to be happy. If you can be that now and bring in how you can be happy now, how you can be peaceful now, how you can be those things now, and then what happens is that you do things from that peace and love and joy, you will have what you want. That is the context that actually works. The have, do, be does not work, because you know what? If it worked, all of us would be happy. But we're not. We need to shift it back to the being happy, or the being peaceful, or whatever it is that you want, because there's no rule as to whatever that looks like. Will allow you to do what you want to do and allow you to have what you want to have. It's the opposite way. So I think the kids next door have woken up. They're not mine. Mine don't do that. I might tell them that they made a feature on my videos. Again, happiness comes from the thought that happiness comes from the outside, from people, places, and things. So when I buy that, I'll be happy. When I do that, I'll be happy. A lot of people put that connection to when I do that job, or I have a different job, or if I do these things, then I'll be happy. It just doesn't work that way. You will never be happy from that place. It has to be an inside job. You have to go into your own soul. Finding your soul is the most amazing, amazing process. And I think really at the end of the day, when I say finding peace, it's actually finding your soul that we're doing here. It's not finding peace at all, but finding your soul then actually creates that peace. It's an inside job. You will never find happiness external to you. If you do, it's only for a fleeting second, and then you'll keep looking for more. And that's kind of where we've been stuck as a society, but that's okay. Let's learn from it and let's do something different. Life is like a movie. We all play roles. You can just watch it and see it as what it is and get a different perspective on what's really going on. The people in your life, they're all playing roles for you. At the end of the day, everyone at the deepest soul level are all amazing and beautiful, pure love and joy. Start to see everyone like that. And if they come into your life and show you differently, that's their role for you and for their others. It's the web. It's the web of connection. It's just an amazing, amazing process if you can just start to look at things that way and start to live that way. And there is no getting back at people. There is no calling people out. There's none of that, because they're just playing their role. And then you look at, what does it mean to me and what is it telling me about myself? Then you come back within. That's just how it works. This is a biggie as well. There's no concept of needing to be safe or needing protection. This is kind of a thing that's kept us in fear, which, what you resist persists. So again, we're kind of living in a world that's recreating the need for protection and being in fear. Fear, of course, is false expectations appearing real. If we can just remember that they are false expectations appearing real, there is no need to be safe or to be protected when we come from the soul perspective, because from the soul perspective, we're safe and protected from what? We are all in this web together, and whoever comes into my life is there for a reason. It's the same with boundaries. Again, this is my teaching and my learning. if it's different to others, it's okay. But for me, there's a web there, and if people come into it, it's showing me something about myself, and that always works. I need to just trust the process and not put up boundaries or barriers to experiences that are here to show me something, because what happens is I can move through things quickly and learn much more about them, rather than being stuck in a boundary or a barrier that's going to keep me in a little prison that I created for myself. I just prefer to use, sounds horrible, use people. I will use people to show me more about myself, because the people you have around you are showing you more about yourself. If they're there to help you, and you're there to help them, and that's why they're there. There's no good or bad, right or wrong. It just is. You're just here for a human experience and a journey. It's a soul journey and a human experience. That's really all it is. So these are just a snippet of what I teach. I am doing 24 weeks of this work. It's the first one is the group work for Finding Peace, where we're doing this for 24 weeks, where every week we will catch up and talk about these things, and we're going to use your life and the things that are in your web of consciousness to help you to find out all these things that aren't creating peace in your life. And then with the one-on-one groups, or not groups, but the one-on-one, it's really digging deeper into the own individual stories of what's really going on underneath, and just keep coming back to that soul wisdom and that soul consciousness, and really using the human consciousness to help us. And especially, like, I've got these other options where I'm going to be teaching practitioners how to teach this as well. I did actually have someone yesterday say, how can I do what you do? And I'm like, okay, I'll show you how to do this work. This is literally downloaded through my own experiences and created that way. And it helps people and it helps you. So it's all good. It's all good. So this is just a snippet of, like, and there's so much. I don't know if you've seen, there's so much in this. And can I be honest? I am still learning. I am still open to learning so much more. So during the 24-week process that I'm doing this with you guys, there's going to be more downloaded. So I'll be sharing it. I'll be sharing it in our group as we go through. Now, guys, it's only $25 a week to do this with me every week. I just think it's such an amazing process, an amazing price to be able to work on this together. And the other thing that I'm doing is I'm actually throwing in anyone who signs up with me for Finding Peace and really wants to do this work with me will actually get free access into my psychic readings group, where you can actually have a psychic reading every week, beginning of every week. So if you guys want to keep continuing doing this work and really want to delve deep, I've kind of just touched the surface. I know there's 4 pages of stuff that I've just delivered, but also part of the Finding Peace project, the Finding Peace movement, and the Finding Peace program is that you get this all written down in content. So it's almost like you get but you get a book at the beginning of every week, and then we talk through it, and I get you to bring this into your life. And I like using life examples of what's happening and how we can shift it and change it. So please, anyone, reach out to me, comment or whatever, and I'll send you the information to join me. It does actually start in a week, in March. So Finding Peace, I think it's really finding your soul, to be honest. And then operating from there. If anyone wants to join me, please just message or comment below. If you've got any questions or if you'd like some more information, let me know. But honestly, I'm so excited to do this and just to start this entrainment process going, where if I've worked on this and I've got myself to this stage, and there's no such thing as levels, because we're always ongoing, if then I can share it with you. But I really would love you guys to live this and start to be the example for others, and we can start to really make a big difference in the world. It's the Finding Peace movement. Like, please be part of it with me and start to bring peace into your own life, and again in the lives of others. Thanks for joining me. I am not sure what else I'll be doing around this. This is just a little webinar that I've just done to share some of the points. As you know, I post every day on Facebook and most days Instagram to share more. But if you guys really want to do this with me, just let me know, and we'll delve deeper into these areas within you where I can actually personalize it to what's going on with you, and we can really move forward and bring some peace into your life, get you using some really cool tools that you can use. And then please, it's actually such a blessing to be able to share it with others, and really lovely, motivating and gorgeous. I would love you guys to share this stuff with others as well, because this is why we're here, is just to learn and grow together. So have a great rest of the day or evening wherever you are. Please message me. I don't care how many times you message me or ask me questions or whatever, because I just love it. That's why I'm here, and I'm here to help anyone who just needs a little bit of insights or a little bit of perspective on stuff, changing stuff. We're all on this journey together, because we are in this beautiful big web of consciousness, this human consciousness. And I'm always talking from my soul. So it's from my soul to you. And obviously you needed to hear that again. Beautiful big web of consciousness. I think I'm going to finish up now. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And please, from my soul to your soul, I see you. I think you're amazing. I see you as pure love and joy. If something else is going in your life, I really want you to bring you back to that. And please reach out, and I'd love for you to join me in this program starting in March. And I can't wait. Love you guys so much. Mwah. See ya.